is up, everyone? It's your girl NotSoAv, aka T, coming to you live from Salt Lake City. And today's episode is going to be about me. Why did I want to start a podcast? Who am I? Where did I come from? What makes me qualified to think that what makes me qualified enough to start my own podcast? I'm going to be answering all of these questions, and we are going to get started right now. So, in the last two episodes, I spoke a little bit about how I am an ex-Catholic schoolgirl. I went to private Catholic school from kindergarten until fourth grade, and then I started going to public school after that. I've always been a very expressive, storyteller and just very animated and loud. And when I went to private Catholic school, that really stifled my personality and made me super introverted, super insecure. And I think that that's just the structure of school in general. Whenever kids go into school, it is to, you know, um, have you conform to society and um takes away everything that makes you you, as far as at least for me in private Catholic school, I everything is stripped of you. You have your identity stripped of you. You have to wear a uniform. You cannot raise your hand, or you cannot speak out of turn. Like, you have to raise your hand to be called on to even have a voice. So I went from a very animated, loud, super expressive kid. I was always a storyteller. Like, when I was little, I would tell these crazy, vivid stories about how I was born when I was little. Like, I would just tell people, like, yeah, I was a bean, or I would just make up different stuff. Like, I would start out as a bean, and my dad would throw me up on the ceiling and scrape me off and put me in a tortilla and eat me. And then that's how I was born. Like, I would just say all this crazy stuff. Like, I would always tell people, I would just make up little stories and talk to people. Like, my dad always told me, like, I have the gift of gab. And, you know, um, I've had a lot of different jobs in my life. So yeah, I went from being super shy, super quiet and introverted and insecure. And then, as I got older and started working, um, that fell away little by little. And, there are days where I struggle with insecurity and confidence. And, that's just a normal part of life. Like, we're not always 100% and on and our best. And so, that's okay. But anyway, so a little bit about the name Not So Av and where that came from. It's actually an anagram for my name. So my actual name, I know I go by T on here and Not So Av, but Not So Av actually came from my real full name. So my name is Natalia Sofia Avila. So Natalia, it's an A-T, but Not So Av. So and OT, and then my middle name Sophia, so the SO, and then my last name Avila, Avila. So Not So Av. It just made sense. And a lot of people think it's for not so average, which, yeah, it's like a play on words, but a shorter, simplified version of Not So Average, because my last name is an average. It's Avila. So that's why my name is Not So Av, and that's where that came from. This is Mello. He's trying to be nosy. It's my little dog. So, if you're just listening to this on Spotify or wherever you get podcasts, that you're probably not going to see him. But yeah, if you're watching the YouTube video, then you will see him make an appearance. And hold on, let me come back. I'm gonna edit this because he's being kind of clingy. Hold on. So I've always been a storyteller. Storytelling runs in my family. So on my mom's side, my grandpa was a storyteller, and storytelling just runs in my family. So I've always been a writer. Like when I was younger, I would write poetry and just write down my feelings. And I'm a double Scorpio, so I have a lot of feels. I'm a water sign, so and I'm a double Scorpio, so that is intense. And as my Scorpio queen, my actual fellow double Scorpio queen, RuPaul, always says, when he was younger, he felt like the boy who fell to earth. So meaning like he felt like otherworldly, like and that's always how I felt. Like I've always been like an observer like in school because I just like would see and just like watch how other people would act and be like, wow, like I'm so different from that. Like I would not have done that, And like I feel like the reason why I wanted to start this podcast, like I actually wanted to start this podcast during the pandemic. I had plans with my ex to start a podcast. And then, the imposter syndrome kind of got to me and like I got in my head about it. Like, what do I even talk about? Why would people listen to me? Um, do I even have anything important to say? Just like that type of thing. And, you know, in my opinion, I believe that we can all learn from everybody. We can all learn from each other. So whether it's what not to do in your life or how to be better in a different area of your life, um, we can learn so much from each other. So for me, the reason why I wanted to make this podcast is because I know that I'm not the smartest person. I'm not the stupidest person either. I'm not the most beautiful. I'm not the most ugly. I'm not the skinniest. I'm not the fattest. I'm not, like we all have that. So like there's always going to be somebody more than you and there's always going to be somebody less than you. But I feel like we all can learn something from each other. Like I said, whether it's like what not to do in your life. Some people's lives are cautionary tales of what decisions not to make. And then some other people are inspiring, they're influencers and can help you overcome something or just be better in a specific area in your life. Get out of there. Get out of there. I'm so sorry, guys. My dog is being crazy right now. And so I just wanted to make this podcast to just explain some things in my life, things that I've been through, things that I've overcame, and or things that I'm overcoming and learning and going through, just so that other people can relate and let me know your experiences. And if you're watching this podcast and I know you or you're like a family member or like a friend, like drop a comment and kind of just like engage, like let other people know how you know me or like how we know each other or like send a memory, like one of your funniest memories of me or like a good memory that you have of me or something like that, just so that I can kind of like see who my audience is and just kind of get some engagement on these videos because I want to get them out in the world and help them reach whoever they need to reach. So yeah, so um all right, so back to like growing up and like what kind of jobs I had. So my first job, I think I was like 14 or 15 and I was a junior jazz scorekeeper at a rec center not maybe like 20 minutes away from my house. And I was like, yeah, so 14 or 15. I'm not into sports. My family was never into sports. We don't watch soccer, basketball, baseball, tennis. I feel like if there's any sport that my family is into, if anything, it would be boxing. That's because my mom's father used to watch boxing a lot, and that's kind of just like a funny thing in our family that um, you know, we used to watch because he would make us watch it. And so anyway, I was not into sports and so that job was super boring for me. I think I was getting like $6 an hour or something at the time. And yeah, I remember just like watching the little kids run around and like I said, was not into sports and so I didn't know what was going on half the time. And so I would get yelled at a lot. Like a lot of the parents would come come up to me and be like, "Hey, my kid just made a score and you didn't mark it." And I'm like, "Oh, my bad." And so I would just like mark the score or whatever. And then like there was like two other guys that would work with me, and they hated me because I just didn't know how to do my job. Like I was a kid and not into sports, and so I was trash at that job. And it's really funny to think about now because, like, yeah, I would just get yelled at, or like the referee would come up and be like, "Hey, mark that point," and I'd be like, "Oh, sorry," and then I would do it. And then after that, I started like my first real job was like working at Arby's. I was 16, and I worked there for like 6 months. I loved that job. I would just like make the sandwiches. I started as a cook, and then I was a cashier, and then um worked my way to drive through. And so I loved that job. I would like eat the food. I would just like munch on the curly fries and cheddar, and I loved it. And then after that, I worked at Burger King. I worked at this place called Energy Solutions, like in concessions. I've worked, I was a supervisor at Ross. I worked at Sears. I worked at, other fast food like Rumby's. Where else have I worked? Discover Card. I've worked Teleperformance. I've worked so many different places, like, and most of the positions that I've been in were mostly like leadership. Like I was always like training new people. um I worked at call centers, like this gifting company called Olive and Cocoa. That was like one of my favorite jobs. I think I was there the longest. I was there for 4 years, and that was a really good job, and people loved me there. Like a unique gifting company, and um a lot of more mature, wealthy people would call in to place orders for their family members or friends. And like, people would call in angry and be like, "Hey, where's my order?" And I would diffuse the situation. And by the end of the call, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love you so much. You remind me of my granddaughter." And I'm like, "Oh, a great, amazing, wonderful. I'm so glad that I could help you." And that job was really cool because it was 100% customer satisfaction. So we had to do everything to make the customer happy, and everybody, like most of the customers, like loved me and even request me, even when I wasn't even um in the position to where they could have like a VIP like salesperson. And so that was really cool. And then I was a manager at a shopping center. I used to be a courier for a cannabis company, medical cannabis company here in Utah. That was really cool, and I learned a lot on that job. And I'm actually going to be dropping like a mini like vlog series, I guess, because some of the videos are like 2 minutes, some of them are like under 10 minutes, where I was just recording myself. This was in like 2000, the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022. So I will be dropping that content. Let me know if you want it this month or if you want it next month, since next month is April and the month of 420. Um, just let me know what you guys want, because I do have a lot of content that I recorded and never dropped. So I do have like some catching up on. But yeah, so some of the other jobs, let's see. I used to work for like Humana doing like enrollment, billing, and pharmacy, I think. I used to work so at Teleperformance, I was working for Ann Taylor Loft, like making orders, or taking orders. So like people would call in to place their orders, and I would input it into the computer. What else have I done? I've just had so many different jobs, and in all of those jobs, people have always told me um that I'm a really good speaker, that people used to compliment me on my makeup a lot. Today I'm just, kind of like uh very just eye makeup today and lipstick, because I because I'm being more vulnerable today. I just wanted to show a more like toned down version of myself, to show the vulnerability, since I'm speaking about like, personal moments and times in my life. Um I can't really think of all of the jobs because I've had so many at my age. Which, for me, I consider myself well-rounded. I'm very adaptable to any situation and to any job, and so I think that that's a great quality to have where I can just like do any job. Um, but yeah, so then, and that's what also I feel makes me qualified to have my own podcast because I have the gift of gab and I have a lot to say. Whoa, my light just changed. Because I have a lot to say and because I've been through a lot, I feel like I can help people with my experiences or just tell them, how I've navigated through certain situations, how I've overcome them, or how I've just like gotten through them or how I'm dealing with it. And I feel like, yeah, like I said before, how we can all just like learn amazing things from each other. Um, hold on. One of the other cool jobs that I used to work at was Netflix. I used to be just a customer service um, rep for Netflix. That was really cool. And then I've worked at two adult shops here in Salt Lake. So, yeah. Oh, and then, yeah, about my background. So, I'm actually originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. I've been here my whole life. Um, Born and raised here. My mom's dad's family was from Chihuahua, Mexico. But I think my mom's dad was born in California. My mom's mom was born here in Salt Lake. Um, Lived in California, but then moved back here. And then my mom's from here. My dad is from Colorado because his mom was born in Colorado. And then my dad's dad was actually born in Acapulco, Mexico, and immigrated to the United States and became a citizen. And um, so yeah, I'm born and raised here in Utah, and Utah is known for a lot of really cool things like the beautiful mountains, the skiing. It's known for being a desert. It's known for the salt flats. Um, and you know, I've watched the Real Housewives of Salt Lake, and no tea, no shade, no hate towards them or anything. They all seem like really interesting women. However, it's not the proper representation of Utah. Although there is some true things about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake. Um, there is a lot of judgment here, specifically from Mormon people. If And that's just how it is here. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of you know, cattiness. There's a lot of like fakeness, unfortunately. And so I just want to represent a different side of Salt Lake. So this is the real side, at least for me. Like I'm from the hood. My parents were always middle class. And so I did go to a private Catholic school when I was younger, but then, I only went until fourth grade because my parents couldn't afford it anymore. And so that's why I started going to public school. And public school was like a culture shock, going from a predominantly white school to the minority being white people. It was so crazy. I felt like just like a fish out of water, just like so out of my element. And like, um, I didn't have a style. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know, a lot of things, just like how to exist without like all the rules. It was really difficult for me to transition from Catholic school to public school. And it was really an interesting time in my life. And so I'm just thankful for platforms like YouTube where you can share parts of yourself and you can be just like put your content out and then it will reach so many different people that you wouldn't even imagine that it would reach. So I'm just so thankful for this and thankful that people are going to watch this. And Hopefully we'll like it. And if you don't, let me know what I can improve on. I'm always open to suggestions and ways on improving. So yeah, I think we're just gonna keep it short. I'm gonna edit some of this and then I will drop it. But let me know if you have any ideas for what you want me to talk about next week. And yeah, we're gonna keep this thing going because I just am ready to just have my voice heard and put my content out there, and I'm ready for ideas. So yeah, let me know what you guys want to see, what you guys want me to talk about. If you have stories that you want to send in or anything, just send those to notsoav@gmail.com. And yeah, I will catch you all next week. So again, this is Not So Av, aka T, coming to you live from Salt Lake City. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week and stay true to yourself and do the thing, even if it makes you scared, even if it's new, even if it's something that people don't want you to do or whatever. Just do it. Do the thing. And I'm doing this for me. Even if nobody watches this and I get no views on my whole channel, then that is totally fine. This is just something that I need to do for me and stay true to myself with because it's something that has been on my heart for so long now. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Bye.